Has an unsolved murder victim ever told you how they died? Do evil spirits target certain living people? Have you ever been dragged out of your bed at night? Today we test the believability of the malevolent shadows.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
where we dive into the unknown and the unusual
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
Oh, here we are. It's another Tuesday evening.
It is.
I have played my game last Wednesday, and I screamed. My throat is still sore.
I feel like are you on stage right now? The way you said throat felt like very...
I enunciated it?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good.
No, it was very entertaining. It was short and sweet.
About an hour of torture.
Yeah, you don't like scary games.
No.
You don't like scary movies.
No. I had that conversation with myself while I was playing. I was like, I talk about this every week, and I'm still scared right now.
No, Slender is... Don't let anybody tell you it's not scary. If someone tells you Slender's not scary, it's because they don't have an imagination.
And if you haven't seen the playthrough, it's up.
It's up on YouTube. Go check it out on our YouTube. You can watch about 48 minutes or so of Charlie screaming at doors.
But beyond that, let's move on to the episode. So we're going to talk about two listener submissions that we got. One is from Megan, and the other is from Liam. So Megan said, "Hey guys, I know Isaac has sent one of these experiences. See episode 25. I thought it would be fitting for me to send one as well." And Megan is the co-host to Hidden in the Shadows podcast.
That's right. And episode 25 is the multiverse episode where Isaac was talking about having seizures, where he would have like seizure type moments and see like himself or things in like a different parallel dimension.
Yeah, something that wasn't happening.
Which things have gotten so much crazier for him than that anyway. But we don't have enough time to touch on that. This is about Megan. I assume. I don't know. I don't know. You're the one with the screen.
Yes, it's about Megan's experience. And I think it stands out to her because it's the first.
Her first experience?
That's what she said.
Wow.
I think it's the most powerful first experience. Like, she might have had some other things before this, but this one's stands out because of how it happened. Because of it's the beginning. You know, The beginning of the movie always stands out. Batman his parents are always killed.
Yeah, so Spider-Man gets bit.
Uncle Ben dies.
Yeah, has to. Unless there's no Uncle Ben.
Who else is there? I don't know.
Superman.
Iron Man.
Nobody watches Superman.
Iron Man gets kidnapped by the guys in the Middle East.
Is that what happens every time?
I don't think it's every time.
See, that one doesn't feel played out because there's like one Iron Man.
Yeah, that's true.
You had me until then.
Okay. All right. I lost the analogy. It's fine. Megan said this experience was burned into her head, even though this experience happened at least 20 years ago. And she has now seen some stuff that I, and probably you, can only imagine.
Yeah, I think she should just walk outside, smoke a cigarette, and look off in the distance.
Yeah, with a cup of coffee in a bathrobe.
Seeing some shit.
Yeah. Because Megan, legitimately, I think has powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychic abilities,
She's a psychic medium. Which I actually called my aunt to see, like, if you could rate, like, powers on, like, the same
believable,
kind of scale.
Viable.
No, at the same kind of scale that you would grade, like, meat. So, like, really good meats is a grade A.
Oh, I see.
Like, grade B, grade C, like, I can only see, like, feet of ghosts.
Yeah.
The feet of ghosts are, like, the hands of ghosts.
I feel like there's a lot of guys that'd be okay with that.
Ew.
Rex Ryan. You know what I'm talking about.
But there is not any kind of scale like that. But Megan has audio and visual communications.
Start a ghost feet.
A ghost feet finder? I like them opaque. She sees dead people. Like the movie, She Sees Dead People.
Have you seen that movie?
No. But she even herself compared herself to Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense. She's had these powers since she was young, and these powers include seeing and speaking to dead people. And possibly other things, other kinds of spirits. And as a young girl, she would see these spirits so clearly that she would even confuse them with people that were alive.
See, that's where it gets really trippy, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, like you have a conversation with grandma. Oh no, grandma died 2 years ago.
Or you just, like, mention it to someone else, right? Like,
Yeah.
What is that lady doing over there? And they're like, what lady?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh god.
And you turn back and then there's just a demon face.
Ugh, jump scare. Or it's just a raccoon jumping out of a dumpster.
Yeah.
Those early jump scares. This is the beginning, so.
That's true. So Megan also suffered a little bit from insomnia. I know you know that.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
Oh.
I don't have the psychic powers, but I do have insomnia.
So either from fear of the dark or things that lurked in the dark. At a young age, she needed to have the glow of a TV to help her relax enough to sleep.
I get that.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes it's nice. When she lived in Wilmington, North Carolina, with her parents, they had a fairly small trailer, and space was limited, but her room had a TV in it. Her room was on the other side of the trailer from her parents. Now, it's not an impossible distance, but it's enough to be disturbing for a child, especially one that sees dead people. Part of her insomnia was that when she fell asleep, she'd be woken up and be too scared to fall back asleep.
Just scared in general by being nighttime, or I wonder.
Either by night or the things there. She didn't say.
Okay.
When Megan was about 6 years old, she started to hear static coming from her small TV in her room. Now, like I said, this was like her comfort item. And this is me breaking off here. And I wonder if the spirits or whatever is going to come, something's going to come, spoilers, knew that that was her comfort item and started to turn it against her. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I'd have to hear what happens, but I think it would depend on how malevolent, right, the spirit is, because
it kind of
that feels more demonic than spirit, right?
It does.
It's like very aware. Like instead of it just happening, which it could be a coincidence, I guess. Like I said, I don't know what happens, but if it's intentional and it's like to remove the one safety blanket that this child has,
it does. Yeah, it's like it's taking away the glow of the TV to light up the room so it's not as dark.
Yeah, that's like taunting evil. It's bad.
It's bad for sure. And just like the movie Poltergeist, they were here. The first few nights of the stag party, she ran to her parents and told her what was happening. And just like any good horror movie parents, they brushed her off.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare.
And your nightmare, it's just a dream. It's not real. You know, it's because the TV's old. It has static.
And after this had been going on for a couple of nights, that's when a figure started to appear in her closet.
In her closet?
In her closet.
That's not what I was expecting.
It was a figure of a man. No face, no color, just black, a shadow. And it would stare at her from the closet while she was in bed.
I wonder if it had no face or if it was just so dark that she couldn't see a face.
She said specifically no face. It did wear a trench coat. And also, it wore something else. Tyler, can you guess what it is?
Was it a hat?
A fucking hat.
Ooh.
So, would you care to expand upon that a little bit?
On if it was the Hat Man.
Do you think it might be?
I would want to hear from Megan if she thought it was the Hat Man or if had heard about the Hat Man. I'm sure she has. I swear to God, one day, maybe it'll be our last episode ever.
No, don't say that.
One day we are going to do an episode on the Hat Man. It is this very, very common entity that is seen all across the world. It kind of, I don't want to say like stalks people, but a lot of people see when they're sleeping. But it's just this ominous, tall, dark figure that seems to be lurking around, and it has a hat. That is the Hat Man, without going into an episode with more specifics. Potentially. But I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
If a TV light was your saving grace for trying to fall asleep, like your comfort, and you started hearing the static and creepiness associated with it, would you keep it on and hope that it went away and risk that? Or would you turn it off and therefore cut off your security blanket, but also at the same time remove this new creepy sensation?
I'd turn it off and I'd turn on like a lamp.
Yeah, lamp.
I'd move a light source.
Podcast. I don't listen to music anymore going to bed, but there was a large part of my life where I would put headphones in and listen to music. I was laying down.
Headphones?
Yeah.
I would watch comedy on SNL.
Comedy Central?
Comedy Central. Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to Megan's story. So I feel like the combination of the static and the Hat Man, I think is the Hat Man, in her closet is the start of something for her. I think she had powers, but this is when she stared into the abyss and the abyss stared back.
But, so she had already been seeing dead people at this point, though.
I'm not sure. She didn't say. She didn't say she'd been seeing them. But I know that she got powers from this point on. I think this is the first time she realized. Because she's really young at this point. She's 6.
Okay, so when she was prefacing saying that she can see dead people, was that assumed that it was after this moment?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. What a man, that's like no easy way into, it's like starting a game without the training part at the beginning, right?
Yeah, there's no walkthrough.
Yeah, it's like you decide to skip the tutorial and you just play the game. Like, just a rude awakening into having powers. Which I guess I don't know what a real life tutorial in that would be unless you had a master who taught you everything.
Yeah, but I guess so. Yeah.
It's just like it's just like noises in your TV and boom, a dark figure staring at you. But I guess I feel like the more I'm talking about it now, the more it seems natural that most people don't get any type of ease into it.
No. Most people just kind of have to figure it out. Thankfully, there's the internet now, but
thankfully, I don't have to do that shit.
Well, I don't, thankfully.
Me either.
But there's the internet now, so I think it's easier to get into it, understand what you are, what your abilities are.
I think it would be a very interesting sensation to watch a horror movie as somebody who deals with it in real life. Because that stuff's scary to me anyway.
Mm-hmm. I know. So even though this figure was in her closet, Megan wasn't too scared. Don't know why. But she told her mom again what was happening, and it was brushed away again.
Oh, it's just that the coat hanger with the coat and the hat rack on it that I like to put at the forefront of the closet as I leave it creaked open. Mm-hmm. It's just that, Megan.
Yeah. Well, she said it might have been horror movie trailers or something.
I wonder if her mom believes now.
I don't know. I'm interested. So in a couple of weeks that followed this initial sighting, something new started to happen. Another entity had started to appear along with the shadow. And this was more of a person. It had a mushroom kind of haircut, bell-bottom jeans, and nerdy glasses.
So Austin Powers.
Well, as a girl.
Oh.
Now, this was slow, but the entity went from standing in the closet to sitting on the edge of Megan's bed to eventually talking to Megan. And after about a month of seeing and talking to this girl, Megan woke up to being touched and someone saying, "Megan, wake up." And she did just that. And she saw both of them in the closet. And the girl was starting to say something I need to tell you, but Megan was fighting it. She was really nervous. She's like, I need to go tell my mom about this. But before she had a chance to, before she could even move, the entity started to tell her about how the entity was injured by the lunch lady at her school. And the injury led to her death. Now, Megan saw that entity off and on, but eventually both of them vanished after that point. Now, she still continues to see spirits, but she hasn't seen those two since she was a kid. Now, she did ask a friend about that spirit, because apparently her friend is also a medium, had talked to that spirit, and she did find a name, either Pam, Pamela, or Peggy, but she never found obituary to match. But that is the end of Megan's encounter. This thing that burned into her brain, which I can only imagine must have been terrifying.
Yeah, man, that's if this was a movie, that's the go to the library and use the slidey newspaper montage to find out. Yeah,
but she never found out.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I wonder if it was more just the act of telling what happened that made that entity pass on, if it did.
Well, I guess if she never saw it again, maybe you just needed to kind of tell this truth.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to find out what the lunch person did. Side note, love Wilmington. I go to Wilmington every time before I go to my beach in North Carolina. And it's where they filmed One Tree Hill. And so I always get something
One Tree Hill?
Keith Scott Body Shop, or I have a Ravens jersey. I think it's 23, so I think it's Nathan.
I've never seen One Tree Hill. I've never been to Wilmington. I'm sure it's lovely. This episode is sponsored by Magic Spoon.
Charlie, when I say think back to being a kid, what does it make you think of?
Saturday mornings watching cartoons with a big bowl of cereal.
Right? Wasn't that the best?
Well, to be honest, I still watch cartoons, but I gave up the cereal. Too much unnecessary sugars, you know?
What if there was a tasty cereal that was good for you and legitimately a healthy breakfast option?
What?
I'm talking about Magic Spoon.
Oh yeah, Magic Spoon, the ultimate childlike cereal.
But for adults.
We recommend checking out the variety pack that comes with 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter.
This pack has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs and only 140 calories per serving.
When I saw they had a peanut butter option, I immediately called dibs.
My favorite is cocoa, which you'll actually see us on social media eating, and honestly, I was floored by how good it actually is.
Exactly. It doesn't taste like cardboard like some of the other healthy cereals. You can't even tell. It's got 0 grams of sugar.
Listen, if you want to reclaim your childhood and enjoy a tasty, refreshing bowl of cereal with ice-cold milk, go to magicspoon.com/bizarre and grab a variety pack today.
And be sure to use our promo code BIZARRE at checkout to save $5 off your order.
Remember, get your delicious and healthy bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/bizarre and use the promo code BIZARRE to save $5 off your order.
So our next story is from Liam from Arizona, much different state. Yeah.
And 2 states that I like, though. I know you got some beef with Arizona.
Arizona's hot.
Uma, right?
Yuma.
What?
Uma Thurman?
Yeah.
No, Yuma. 310 to Yuma. It's a movie about a prison train and cowboys.
Prison trains and cowboys.
No, this takes place in Buckeye, Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah.
O-H.
I-O.
O-J.
A-I. A-I.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Anyway.
Oh, hey.
I don't know. Is there a response to that?
No, it's like, oh, hi.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey.
All right. So the years this takes place is 2012, jumps to 2018, jumps again to 2021.
Okay.
Now, Liam stated in his email that he wasn't sure if he was sensitive. I'm not sure either.
He's like, I don't know if any of this is real.
Well, it does. The first story is extraordinary.
Okay.
It does feel like something is targeting him. That's what I think.
Okay.
I'll ask your opinion at the end. But he has 4 experiences. They're all pretty short, but they're all pretty strange. I'm not sure that it's the same thing throughout all of them, although maybe it could be. So, let's get to it. The first experience takes place in 2012. Liam's bedroom was set up so that his bed and nightstand were against the wall. Now, one night he fell asleep and then he awoke again at 2:45 a.m. Although something was very different and very wrong. Groggily, he saw that he was not in the same place. He was still in his bed, but his bed had been moved. It was now in the middle of the room and directly under his ceiling fan. As he lay there, he saw the fan spin. He also realized he could not move, like he was tied down. And as he began to panic, Liam saw the shadow figures begin to appear around him from the dark. As they stood there next to his bed, he began to feel a strange sensation. He understood quickly that he was starting to lift straight up from his bed. He was slowly flying without control toward his fan. He saw the broken glass of the light dome underneath the fan as he inched toward it. He held his breath as he felt a sharp sting of the broken glass bite into his flesh. But with an intake of breath, he slammed into his bed. Immediately he was exhausted and fell asleep. Waking in the morning, he still had a deep cut on his nose, whose scar lingers to this day. His bed was exactly where he had been the night before the event. However, he could see the markings of the furniture on the floor underneath the fan in the morning light. And that's the first event.
Wow. I would want to like look at the fan, like climb up and see if like there's blood.
Mm-hmm.
But like, have you ever had a dream where you injure yourself in the dream, but it matches the sensation that you're having in real life? Like, I've had a cat claw me in real life, and then my dream made it make sense. But then it's actually just my cat. Like, I've had my cat like stretch its paw out and then pull it back, but it grabbed my ear, so I've had like my ear yanked with a claw of my cat.
No, that's never happened to me.
Okay,
but
now that doesn't answer the markings on the floor and things like that.
It doesn't.
But it felt like sleep paralysis at first.
It did, because he couldn't move.
Yeah.
And then he started to float.
Well, you know what? Until the floating, the image that I got, it was very hospital-like. It felt like a patient tied down to a table, and like the shadows that were emerging were like the nurses and the doctors.
See, I got sleep paralysis aliens.
Okay. Yeah, and until the rising, it felt, and the ceiling fan felt like almost like that blinding light that you get at a doctor's.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Not like a good, happy hospital, if there's such thing, but like, you know, like the creepy.
Here's your sucker at the end of the visit, Liam. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that he found his bill under his pillow at night.
That was a real nightmare.
He got very depressed. But like the swarm of people, like it was almost the energy of a hospital. Yeah. That's how it felt to me. Now that's just me personally, but that was kind of the vision and vibe I was getting. But that's crazy. Like, that is, no matter what, real or not, that is a good story. It's a good story for someone to tell.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's his icebreaker at parties.
Ooh, I don't know. It might go real bad real fast.
There's like a girl that just like looking at him.
It feels like a second date story.
And it was like, oh man, I don't know what to talk to him about. How'd you get that scar on your nose? He's like, you want to know how I got the scar on my nose? Do you want to know?
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it.
And then she's just like,
well, there's my wrist. Gotta go.
Yeah. Great talking to you.
That's a second date story for sure.
If she says, show me the ceiling fan, she's into you.
Absolutely.
September 1978. Serial killer Rodney Alcala appears on The Dating Game.
February 1994. 34 hospital workers are exposed to an unexplained toxic lady.
March 2022. Experian emails a Los Angeles podcaster about a mysterious credit score change, completely unjustified.
Wait, did we cover that?
I mean, we could have. I said it was mysterious.
Okay, we're Ghost Town, and we cover true crime, paranormal, and other weird history.
The Cult of Capital One.
But here's one more date. July 2018. A trailer drops for a new podcast called Ghost Town. Over 300 episodes later, we've covered everything from the Los Feliz murder house to the Noid.
Ever hear of the Tetris murders, or the Denver Spider-Man, or the underground satanic magazine Tuesday's Child?
Didn't think so. We've got stories you won't hear anywhere else by two writers, producers, and comedians.
We're LA 4s, but Wisconsin 7s.
Hey, I'm from Wisconsin. Oh. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
Available every Wednesday and Friday.
Pause the podcast you're listening to right now and subscribe to Ghost Town.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
You're a Wisconsin 8.
So these next two are from 2018. He's moved houses at this point, in the same city though. And this first story starts only a couple days after the move. And Liam is staying up pretty late. It's about 2:30 a.m., rolls around, and he feels a rumble in his stomach. And he walks down to the kitchen, and everything was normal at this point. Liam made his cereal, probably not Magic Spoon.
Is a sponsor.
And then he started to go back to his room. Now, going through the entrance hall of the house was a window that a tree overlooked. And he couldn't help himself. He said, quote, "It's almost like I was forced to look out this window," quote. And from that, he saw something in the tree. Its arms and legs were wrapped around the trunk. And when he saw it, he made eye contact. And this thing had dark red colored eyes. And Liam got so dizzy and his stomach dropped. And he said it felt like he was free falling. Liam said he swore it only felt like a moment had passed. But when he checked the clock, it was 4 a.m. So he lost time. He lost at least an hour. And that's the whole event. He sees this thing in the tree, and he loses an hour.
So this thing had its arms and legs wrapped around the trunk?
Yeah.
Not that scary, but I immediately imagined a sloth.
I'm thinking Dover Demon.
Dover Demon on vacation in Arizona?
Well, we can talk about it after.
All
Talk about
right.
it after.
It took him 40 years to waddle over to Arizona.
Yeah.
Catching that
Probably
heat.
pretty warm for him, because it was by a river, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next event happens in the same year, so it's 7:30 in the morning. Liam's working on a science project for school, and he's working in the kitchen. And to quote him, "My kitchen connects to a back room via a set of French doors. And as he worked on his project, the French doors began to violently shake, as if someone was kicking them with all of their might, trying to actively break them down." So, being curious, Liam looked at the doors, and he sees the doors, like, slowing down their vibrations. And they just kind of shook. And then, a moment later, it starts again, violently shaking. It was like someone's trying to break them, kick them down. So, he grabbed his project and ran out the door.
Chucked it at the French doors.
He dipped out as fast as he could.
The doors were making a ha 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 as they were opening and closing. Does this strike a chord for you? Because that's kind of like your experience in the theater.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, with the shaking in the doors.
Well, the French doors, you can see through those. I couldn't
That's
see
true.
through mine.
That's true. So
Nothing was there. He saw nothing.
that's like something that's like a barrier, right? Like it's like a known, like am trying to get to you and I can't. Right? Like it's I don't know, maybe that's just me putting like a spin on like, I don't know if the real world can affect them like that. But that's how it feels to me. It's like something trying, or it's just trying to get his attention.
Yes, I think attention is the key there.
He's doing his project wrong. They're like, no, don't glue that piece to that
Pluto's
piece.
not a planet anymore.
Circa 2006.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that is. It's weird, that's for sure. The next story has to do a lot with shaking as well. This last event happened October 3rd of 2021, which was 4 days before he sent it to us.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, this is from October?
Yes.
And we're in May?
Uh-huh.
Okay, people, this is your PSA. We're getting to them, I promise you.
It's coming.
Jeez.
This happened at 12:30 on October 3rd, and Liam was in bed on his phone, and out of nowhere, his house started to shake. There was this huge noise on the roof, and Liam was unsure of what he even heard, but his parents came crashing into his room to see if he'd made the noise, to shut the house, and to check on him to make sure he's okay. And he didn't make the noise, and he was okay. So what they decided to do was to grab a gun. They ran outside to see if anyone was on the roof, and they even climbed the ladder to make sure no one was up there. And all that was on the roof was spider webs. Now, that feels almost, maybe natural.
Like an earthquake.
Something like that. No one reported an earthquake. It was the only house that was affected
What
by
if
this.
every house thought it was paranormal? Every house thought that Krampus had landed on their roof. And so none of them, they all felt silly, right? Like they're like, oh man, I can't let everybody know that I thought that something paranormal happened. So I'm not going to say anything. So every house experienced this earthquake and they were all too shy to say anything about it.
No, because there's a prelude he didn't tell me before the end. That he'd been discussing skinwalkers all day at work with his coworker.
Mm.
And what happens with skinwalkers if you say their name?
Track them. See, this
You
is like
track
going back to the women in black thing. Like it's you don't think it's a big deal when you're talking about it and researching them at 1 a.m. looking out your window. And then they jump out of your house.
Yeah. And that's the last thing he experienced. I hope he's okay, because that was October 3rd of last year. Yeah. So that is my listener submissions from Megan and Liam. So let's move into the discussion. So at this point in the episode, we'd like to stop and thank all the people as of this recording who have joined our Patreon. And I'd like to start this list with Javier, Elliot, Taylor, Danny, Nicole, Delaney, Constantine, Angela, and Lacey. The last couple have just made it under the wire, and listen, it's crazy when we're about to start an episode and we get a notification a Patreon just joins. That's insane.
I always feel bad when someone joins after we record, because then they might think that we just forgot about them that episode, but we totally didn't.
We did not, because it's not how it times up. I'm not going to go back after I edit it and put them in, but we still appreciate you. We're going to get your shout outs, because it means so much to us. It means the world to me and Tyler. And because you've joined, what are some of the things they get, Tyler?
You get quizzes. You get listener submission interviews, very much like this episode. The people that submit stories directly, we try and reach out and interview them. Sometimes they hit us up. Sometimes they don't respond.
If we can.
Sometimes we plan it, and the minute of, we never hear from them again. It happened twice. You also get Do You Believe the Bizarre, where producer Ben provides some paranormal stories. Some are real, some are fake. We have to guess which ones are which. We watch Netflix horror movies together in a group chat. We do Google Hangout, where we just chill and talk face to face, computer screen to computer screen. If you join our dedicated tier, you get an exclusive Patreon only t-shirt. You cannot buy this shirt. It is sent to you after a couple months of being in the dedicated tier. And you get exclusive access to our private Discord, not to be confused with our public Discord. And in that private Discord, every single month, we hold a giveaway that has 3 winners.
And on top of that, we have 2 stretch goals. At 175, we are bringing back theatrical readings.
Oh, yes.
If you're a writer, we'll talk about it at the end. And our next stretch goal at 200 is me getting a Believing the Bizarre tattoo.
That is correct. As of the very second and moment of this recording, we are 48 patrons away from Charlie getting that good BTB ink.
That's right. But that being said, let's get back to the episode. Tyler, so you heard these 2 stories. Both are special. Do you see why I put the Malevolent figures?
Yeah, they both, do you think Megan's was malevolent?
I do.
Okay.
I do, because that was the whole reason of putting that whole side conversation about the static.
Yeah.
Is I think that it was an opening to something that this girl was not ready for.
Yeah. What if Hatman was the lunch lady?
I wasn't expecting that. I think Hatman, in that case, was kind of like an anti-guide. Like someone who's shoving her into this, that without Hatman appearing, that spirit wouldn't have come and exposed Megan to all this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and also, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Maybe Hatman was drawn, if this is Hatman, was kind of drawn to the energy, or like, because obviously this woman was putting a lot of energy trying to tell Megan about, whatever happened.
Yeah.
So maybe that was drawing Hatman, or maybe that it wasn't even Hatman. Maybe it was somebody who died in the house that had a hat, or the trailer or whatever. Big One Tree Hill fan.
Could be. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I feel like it was, though. It's just described. It fits Hatman.
It does. It absolutely does. But technically we've never spoke to Megan. She's kind of crazy.
We've talked to her.
I feel like
passing?
Every time we've messaged her.
Yeah.
But every time we've ever been on Hidden in the Shadows,
it's always been Isaac. Yeah, we've never spoken with Megan,
so
really.
She's avoiding us or something. Just kidding, Megan. Just kidding. I believe her, though. I believe her. I'm biased because I believe her because I listen to In the Shadows, so I know stuff that they've experienced. It's just like, it's not this one moment for me. So maybe you as a listener, it might be a little bit different.
Right.
But like I listen to their podcast, so I've heard a lot of
You have all
things.
that knowledge behind this story.
Yeah, and they're like, when the first episodes I really listened to of theirs 2 years ago was about Ouija boards, and from that moment on I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So go check that out.
Like I'm actually a little surprised she could have sent us a lot more.
I think it was the first, right?
Yeah.
I think
why
she
this
wanted,
is important to her.
It wasn't like, maybe it was hard to pick from years of stuff, so it's easier just to begin at the top. Mm-hmm. And she could always send more in.
She could.
So Liam, do you think, I love the first story. I like the visuals of it. Is it weird that he had this terrifying experience, but then he was like, oh, I'm so tired? I'm going back to bed.
No, I don't think it's weird. I think it's alien.
Okay, that's right. That is right. You alluded to that. If it was ghosts, do you think that would be weird?
Yes, I do.
Because, like, I feel like I would be so terrified and worked up. But the way you're putting it, it was like energy. So wait a minute. Do you think his entire experience, all of it, is aliens?
No, like I said at the top of that story, I don't think all of it's the same thing. I think the first two are alien, and the next two, I don't know.
So you're saying that the experience in his room was aliens, and
Yes.
the thing that he saw outside with the tree.
Alien.
Which, actually kind of makes sense, because what I was going to say was, I think whatever he saw outside physically was not really naturally of this world.
Right.
Man, he did mention skinwalkers, though.
He did.
That could,
That could account for the last one.
Huh?
That could account for the last thing. That's the only time he talked about skinwalkers.
Was it the only time he talked about skinwalkers?
That's the only time he said it to me.
That's fair. The last one, for some reason, to me, I don't know how I feel about it.
That's fair.
I feel like it could have been natural.
It could have been.
It
could have been hail.
I don't think I have a good feel for it. Like, house was rumbling, but they wanted to check the roof. Like, I feel like it's something I would need to either feel or hear to fully understand what they experienced. Obviously, it was big enough for his parents to come out.
Yeah.
But that one I'm going to leave on the shelf for right now.
Okay.
But the first three, the door shaking definitely seems more spiritual. I'm in Canton, y'all. There's ambulances and dude, there was somebody today that was driving around honking everywhere. And I don't know if it was somebody that got pissed off, so they were following the car that pissed them off honking, or if they were trying to get people out of their way honking. Maybe it's just a goose. I don't know. It was crazy. But anyway, the third one I don't think would be Skinwalker or Alien, right?
I don't know.
The French door is shaking. Reminder.
I could see the French doors being alien in nature. Let me explain myself. I think it could be potentially alien manipulation somehow. Now, by manipulation, I mean maybe it was some kind of illusion, some kind of way to manipulate him out of his house. I don't know how exactly. It could be just dynamics of physics. I don't know.
It's interesting because I think that naturally or surface level wise, you could say that a lot of this was like, my house is haunted. And it's almost like we're making an argument that this house isn't haunted at all and there's no ghosts and everything is external in terms of potentially a skinwalker or aliens. And I think aliens is actually making more sense.
It doesn't. Well, here's the thing. The first house, the first experience is not the same house as the second, third, and fourth.
Right.
Also, nothing presents itself to me like a true haunting. I don't think it seems like a continuous haunting.
The third one with the shaking doors.
That's the most one.
Yeah. The first one could be, it feels more like sleep paralysis, but if he has evidence of it, and I'll trust him on that with his nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the shadow figures being aliens, the thing that he sees outside wrapped around the tree is an alien.
Mm-hmm.
Losing time, that's a big thing. I don't think skinwalkers, they can put you in a trance.
Yep.
They can put you in a trance, so him losing that time, and it's like, as soon as he made eye contact, which you're not supposed to do
right.
with the skinwalker, he got that sick feeling, and he lost time. So
what do you think it is?
I think I can see an argument for alien, and I can see an argument for skinwalker, man.
I could too. But with
Skinwalker Skinwalker could not have done his first experience. But
right.
like you said, they were two completely different locations.
Yep.
So what if he had an alien encounter in the first location and then a Skinwalker encounters in the second location?
Or the last one could be a skinwalker and the first two could be aliens.
Yeah, the last one I don't. No, the second one could also be alien.
It reminds me, okay, so I said Dover Demon, right? It reminds me of the Dover Demon, how it wraps itself around that tree. You even have that picture of it. I saw it today.
Yeah, and it was like around the stone too, like it was wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't picture the Dover Demon, but I don't know. I don't think it had the red eyes he was talking about.
It said red eyes.
I thought it was yellow.
Oh, the Dover Demon?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Big ol' head.
Anyway. So, what do you give them both overall? If you're gonna rate them separately, what would you rate them?
Megan's I go believable. So are we going that for Liam? Is it something paranormal? Or are we breaking it down to aliens versus...
No, just something paranormal. Something strange happening.
Ah, man. Okay, doors shaking on their own. Can't explain that. Seeing something physically with his own eyes and losing an hour there's a certain level of evidence to that. And if he actually has a cut or a scar on his nose that he can't explain, and there's markings on the ground, like if I'm taking all this at face value, I don't know how I couldn't go believable.
Yeah, I agree. Megan, I swear to God, has powers. So I'm going to go with believable for her. And Liam, all that stuff.
You said Arizona, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that could be, that definitely lends itself to aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of alien stuff out there. I think it's aliens.
Also skinwalkers.
I know, it's like, it could be either.
Flip a coin, Liam. Let us know.
I wonder what he thinks it is. But I'm going alien. But I think believable as well. Thank you for listening to this episode, The Malevolent Shadows. I don't know. I think they're malevolent overall. They give me heebie-jeebie vibes.
The heebie-jeebie vibes.
Yeah.
Shadows. The shadows and the heebie-jeebies.
Again, just shout out again, Hidden in the Shadows podcast. Megan and Isaac both have been on this episode. I actually did both of their stories.
That is true. You are the Hidden in the Shadows podcast. The Hidden in the Malevolent Shadows heebie-jeebies podcast teller.
At least a friend.
At least a friend.
Yeah. Thank you for submitting, both of you, Liam and Megan.
I will say this. Now there's a lot, y'all. Listen, there's a lot. But I will say this because we're going to get to every single one of them. If you have a paranormal encounter, you have a paranormal, weird, bizarre experience that gives you the heebie-jeebies, feel free to go to our website, believingthebizarre.com, go to submit your experience. Please give us as much detail as possible. And if you want it told on the podcast, there's a little button that says, do you give Tyler and Charlie permission to tell this on the podcast? You could tell us the best story. You could weave the tightest paranormal narrative possible. But if you say no, you don't give us permission,
to do it.
then we don't get to do it.
That's
and
so funny.
Maybe you just want to share it with us.
I mean, hey,
it's a little selfish.
Appreciate it.
It's okay. But also, I want to say this. You alluded to this earlier. Writers. We're talking fiction, paranormal short story writers. We are getting close to bringing theatrical readings back on our Patreon, which is basically short, fictional horror stories that we're going to have read with tons of sound effects. It'll be up on our Patreon. Even if you're not a member of our Patreon, we'll send you a link when it's done if you're a writer, so you can still listen to it and show your friends and family. And it is paid. So, if you like writing horror fiction, short stories, bizarre, sci-fi, we'll probably even, we'll read it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll read it.
I love sci-fi, so yeah, definitely.
Hit us up at believingthebizarre@gmail.com or just DM us on Instagram or something like that. And we'll go from there. I want to say this, and there's no better time or place for me to say this. I don't know if I said it on this podcast or it could have been anywhere that I said this. You know this. But I have a fear of heights, which translates to kites. Don't know why. Like, I can be on a roller coaster, I can be on an airplane. It's totally fine. But if you get me flying a kite in the air, freaks me out. You knew that.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't know if it's like, it's not like a bird or something like that. Or like, I don't like the idea of a balloon. It's like you lost control of the balloon. Like, I don't like letting balloons go. It's also, I'm a sentimental person. And it's like, you have this balloon in your possession. And the moment you let it go, you'll never see it again. Something about that trips me up. But anyway, I realized kites, it's like I'm connected to this thing that's really high in the air. All of that for me to say that I just found out on Monday, which was last Monday, when on Instagram, if you saw me in construction getup, which Charlie thought I was cosplaying, I discovered through videographer Matt that I have the same fear attached to flying a kite as someone flying a drone.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's like the drone, and it could have been because if it landed on like the construction site, that'd been on us. But we were getting footage of this building, and as it was rising up, I found myself unable to look up, and it wasn't just because of this uncomfortable hard hat. It was, I found myself just like not wanting to look at it as it was going up, and then I looked up and it was so high in the air. This little piece of remote technology that I was holding in my hand 30 seconds ago was now so incredibly high in the sky, and I don't know why that bothers me and why it freaks me out and gives me anxiety. If anybody else suffers from anything like that, let me know. We'll start a group. We can meet on Fridays at 7.
Okay. Anyway, if you
you don't have a response to that? You have nothing to say.
It's like the third time I heard it, man.
Not the drone thing.
Yeah, the drone thing.
I've told you 3 times. I haven't even seen you 3 times since then.
No, you told me you told me after.
Yeah.
You told me during the Google Meet, and this is the third time right now.
Well, then that's plenty of time to come up with a response.
I think it's very interesting how
interesting. That's such a dull.
It's fascinating how this little drone.
You think it's fascinating?
I do think it's fascinating. How it can trigger this anxiety in you.
It's height. It's something about
me.
But
it's not you, though.
No, it's something about me, and I wasn't even in control. It's something about me having a direct relationship with the thing in the sky.
I guess that makes sense.
I don't know.
But if you missed the stream where I screened my head off while watching Slender, it's up on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. And also, if you like the podcast, you had a fun time, please leave a review on Apple and a 5-star. Or if you're just on Spotify, leave 5 stars.
That is right. There's lots of things you can do once the podcast ends to make it actually never end.
That's correct.
Like join our Patreon. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre.
Podcast as bizarre as you are.